Welcome back to Gold Fries. This is my review of the GEEK G1 SE casing. And over here, the Cooler Master NR200P for comparison. So in this video, I'll be talking about the dimensions, volume, then I'll talk about the value, then I'll talk about the assembly process, of which challenges I face, and of course the performance, and we'll come to the conclusion. Starting off, let's look at the volume. You can see that it is narrower, it is shorter, and in terms of size, let's turn it over here, compare it to this one, it is a lot smaller. So let's move this aside. So heavy, is a full setup NR200P, and the volume of the NR200P is almost 20 liters, while this one is about 11 liters. And as you can see, I just took off the acrylic piece, of which comes for both sides. Price wise, this is 100 US, NR200P 100 US, with the NR200 non-P version costing less. Now the 200P comes with tempered glass and 2 fans. This one does not come with any fan pre-installed, nor does it include any other fans or accessories except the screws, the riser cable, of which the 200P has, and that's pretty much it, the 2 acrylic glass. So where is the value? Well, I would say the value is in what it is, smaller size, and the finish. I can tell you, the paint, everything looks great. The cutting is sharp, yet it's not injuring your fingers or anything as you assemble. I spent some 4 hours assembling this one, I tell you that. And I did not get injured or anything because it's just so nice. So I would say the value itself is in the compact nature and the beauty of it. It doesn't even come with front USB input or audio or anything, just a power button, and even that, this power button is one that, unlike any other power button, this one, once you remove the panel, the button itself comes off, the spring comes off, leaving the button mechanism behind. Of course, the button has a white LED on it, but yeah, that's the button side. At the back, you can see that it fits the graphics card and the motherboard really well. So the cutting, it's really good. Now let's talk about the assembly process. Typically on an ATX setup, even on a user-friendly, why I say user-friendly? Well, I'll share to you right now. The NR200P, for any beginner, it's a really straightforward setup. Unlike this one, this is so challenging. Typical ATX setup would take me less than 15 minutes. So does this one, less than 15 minutes. So this one, I thought I'll take half an hour, 1 hour. In the end, I spent about 4 hours, I think. Why? Simply because it's so challenging to put everything in. I could go the easy way of, say, installing an APU, or go simple with the graphics card, the cooling, and fans. I did not. I went full on with the fans and with the whole setup. And before I get into those details, let me share to you the structure. The GEEK G1 SE first comes with a top cover that covers both front and back. In order to get this one off, 6 screws at the top, 4 at the bottom, and there's still more at the back, of which after removing everything, you can lift it up, this U-shape or N-shape cover, whatever you want to call it. And then there's still a whole frame for it. And that frame, I can't show you now, but you can actually see the top and the bottom that allows you to mount fans. So the area where you mount the fans, of which I mount 2 XPG Vento fans, that plate itself is removable. This cover here is removable. The piece, the panel that links this one and the motherboard tray is the one that I attached the power supply. It's removable. The motherboard tray secured by 2 here and 1 screw at the back here as a support pillar is also removable. And the assembly process took a long time simply because I insisted on using the NZXT M22 AIO, which is what I think is bigger than most AIOs. So the assembly process, At first, I installed the AIO, but one thing to install it was itself so challenging that I had to remove the rest of the panels. Once I got it in, I installed the board, installed the power supply, and then I realized the power supply and the cooling tubes are in conflict. And I had to remove the board, remove the panel, reroute the tubes to the other chamber, and then the CPU block out here. So once the CPU block is here, I can finally place the motherboard. Even so, it's conflicting with the radiator. So there's the screw nearest to the AIO. I can't fit it there. However, I am able to mount, secure the rest. And then the power supply, when I tried to install the power supply, the cables were in conflict with the fan. I'm using the FSP Dagger Pro 650 watt modular power supply. So I'm happy that it's modular. It's just that I need to route the cables around to make sure it actually fits this. And that one took some time. Again, the CPU 12 volt cables and the PCIe cables are routed to the rear, the other side of the tray, the other chamber, while the ATX power supply cable comes over here, as you can see. And for this setup, I did not place any RGB because it's tiring enough to set up the whole thing. So the RGB LED is on the Gigabyte RX 6700 XT gaming OC graphics card, and there's no more RGB LED. The one on the NZXT M22 CPU block will be upside down, so I did not want to light it up. As for the memory, it is the Patriots Viper series memory that is without RGB LED. So totally black, other than the Gigabyte logo on the graphics card. So yeah, installation took many hours. However, I am very satisfied. So even this is so challenging to route everything underneath here, over and everywhere. It is totally worth my time. Here's the performance. You can see that the AMD Ryzen 9 5900X actually works very well here with that AIO. Of course, with better cooling, you'll get better performance, but running the Blender test and getting these results, I'm actually very pleased with it. And then there's the graphics card, of which I ran it at 50% RPM, which is I normalized it for both tests. And as you can see, with the panel closed, I thought it would be suffocating, of which actually it is. However, it's still under reasonable operating temperatures. So all in all, I'd say I totally like this casing. The amount I spent on it, yeah, I am totally enjoying. I think I overdid it with the fan. I probably changed to a be quiet silent fan and use it as an exhaust instead of intake. And I probably buy some new panels, the one with the vented panels, which is currently out of stock. Overall, I'm giving it a gold badge. I totally enjoy building this. And yes, this is currently the smallest gaming rig in the lab. Smallest, as in smallest actual real gaming rig with a graphics card. I'm not talking about 1050 Ti, not an APU type of gaming. This is really good for gaming. Alright, we've come to the end of this video, and I'm sure you've noticed by now the motherboard and graphics card are of Gigabyte Aorus. I want to make a disclaimer. The motherboard is one that I loaned from Gigabyte. Thank you. However, the graphics card is my own purchase. Yes, I actually own this graphics card. This is not a loaner unit. So don't go and think that this is a paid project. No, this is not. This is an entirely my own project, of which I've shared before. I love ITX setup. I spend on it. It's my hobby, a ridiculously expensive one, considering that I'm paying in Malaysian ringgits. However, what you can do to help me is that subscribe to this channel if you haven't, and if you see things that you like, please do also share them to your friends, as I could use the support, not just for me to continue this hobby, but to continue my production of content. That's all for now. Thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.